thing he did last time, and a lot of one-drops from this deck, even Glaive Zuka. I'm still curious to see if Desert Camel is in this build. I mean, that feels like it functions so good with a deck full of one-drops and Glaive Zuka. And he's going to fight off Lifecoach and his Reno Paladin first.
That's definitely a card I want to see from Amaz because I want to see some of its potential in a competitive format right now. Is that the wing hasn't been out long enough, really, for the competitive players to test it actually in tournament. So this could be an opportunity to see that card shine. But, Lifecoach has a lot of early game stuff here. He has coin into 2/2 drops, and this is the sort of stuff he needs to be able to fight Amaz in the beginning.
Yeah, we're going to try to figure out if he likes Haunted Creeper or Shielded Minibot better here. They both do a good job at fighting the Leper Gnome, but you got to think about the future turns too. How as well as the matchup against Mad Scientist. What about Animal Companion? Stuff you got to think through. It looks like he's settled on Shielded Minibot. I would definitely say it's a superior 2-drop overall. But either way, I think getting the job done here. So Amaz gonna have to figure out a way to stave off this board position. He feels like Mad Scientist can do it best.
A Minibot would challenge a Knife Juggler, for example. If he just played the Haunted Creeper, his only option would be able to take out the Leper Gnome. But now with the Minibot, he does have the opportunity to take out the Mad Scientist, or he could take out a Knife Juggler if it presented itself. So that's why I think he went for the Minibot overall. But now he can develop the Creeper if he likes. But which target would you like to take out here? Do you want to get that trap down, get to do some work first, get it out early?
Well, I would say definitely if Creeper's on his mind, that getting the trap in play right now, so that way the Haunted Creeper matches up well against the Leper Gnome, certainly something you want to think about. But maybe just a token's good enough here. Maybe he doesn't need a Haunted Creeper. Maybe he doesn't want to attack Mad Scientist. A lot of different things can go this way. It's a very excellent point you made though about Shielded Minibot contesting Knife Juggler. I mean, Lifecoach always going to consider what his opponent's next turn looks like, and then what he's going to do as a result of that. That's the style that he plays, and I think it's one of the reasons why he's such a dangerous player, always thinking about the next step.
Oh, Huffer from Amaz. Never rolls Huffer, but in this opportunity he did. Gets to put some pressure on the life there. What secret do you think this is from Amaz? If this is hybrid, Friesen would be kind of the traditional pick, but there's a lot of different secrets available to Hunter these days. The new Dart Trap is there, and some of them can mix in Bear Trap. Did we actually see a secret from Amaz last time he used the Hunter?
I believe we saw no secret because of Keeper of the Grove. But Freezing Trap definitely, it's usually the one you think about first. It's often the most impactful one and the way that you take care of things. But Lifecoach actually doesn't really have an effective way to clear this 4-2 at the moment. He has a quality, but do you want to be using it this early? If he qualities and this is Freezing Trap or Snake Trap, maybe he's falling into a bad situation. This is a tough turn for Lifecoach very early on.
He needs to make a hard read on that secret if he wants to go for the equality play. He needs to be quite confident that it's going to not be Freezing Trap, because if it is Freezing Trap, it just messes him up. He doesn't have, like I said, a direct answer right now, or maybe in the future to deal with it. He does test the trap first, and it is Freezing Trap, so he doesn't use the equality. He does know that it's going to be that. And I guess he plays the Acolyte of Pain, maybe trying to get Amaz to hit it so he doesn't draw multiple cards. But Paladin isn't a card that packs Whirlwind.
Yeah, and then this is, the danger has really presented itself for Lifecoach at this point. Amaz has a lot of ways to keep this Acolyte in check, even pressure this board even further. Looks like Eagle Hornbow is going to be his play. I can't blame him for this one either. It just takes the Acolyte, and if Lifecoach didn't have an answer to the 4-2 last turn, does he have an answer to the 4-2 this turn?
Yeah, good play from Amaz here. Not mana efficient, but only allows him to draw one card and protects his Huffer from equality. If he had left it up, equality definitely would have probably come down here. On turn 4, he gets a Keeper of Alderman. Turning the 4-2 into a 3-3 doesn't feel great.
Yeah, here's the thing. Lifecoach is going to be able to eventually handle this board pressure, but it's a matter of how much time that he's actually bought because of that. This is a situation where 8 damage has already been dealt by Animal Companion. And by all means, it's getting a 12th point of damage in there. That's a lot of damage to take from one card. That's how Hunter wins the game, is leveraging one of those single cards and having the burst to follow it up. He's in a tough spot. He's going to need to draw, I think, Reno Jackson to win this game.
He needs to be able to play a minion that doesn't die to the bow either, because the bow could protect the Huffer even further. So if he decided to go, I don't know, maybe for an equality with Finley, for example, so he has a quality set for next turn so you can heal bot there on 5. The bow just clears her up and the Huffer lives. So he's just in a very tight spot here.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of utility early. The freezing trap really setting us off. And it looks like it's going to be mind control tech Finley turn.
Yeah, he's just leaving one minion around.
Doesn't have time to choose the hero power, it looks like, though.
Bless a heal. Oh, he gets it.
Wow, just barely in time. And the heal actually could be pretty critical here. And Amaz, that's pretty much a brick at this point. You know, how does he want to play this now? I mean, is this bow going to be starting directing at face? I mean, he can really put Lifecoach into a spot where he's got to have the answer right now. But this also forces him to have an answer. I mean, you're looking at Keeper Oldemon, Blessing of Kings, and maybe Cog Hammer is like kind of a problem here, or quality. But again, if you force a quality out of a 4-2, you're doing a good job.
And if he is forced to equality, he can't heal bot this turn. So again, more pressure. Finding the lesser heal off the Finley will be able to relieve some of that, but he has to be able to wield the squeeze in that hero power as well as his other plays. If he does go for the equality here, he could heal and he could play, say, Zombie Chow. But it feels bad to just equality a Huffer, which has just stayed on board since it came out, and it's just been swinging and swinging. This little piggy's done some work.
This little piggy went to market.
This little piggy went to market.
It looks like, I mean, Keeper of Voldemort Zombie Chow definitely, I think, contests this board pressure. At 6 mana, it's hard for Amaz to, I think, to really deliver 11 points of damage. And then he can follow it with the heal bot. So this may have been the stabilizing turn that Lifecoach needs. But again, he's going to need some draws back behind this because facing down, you know, always the threat of kill commander, just the threat of more charge damage. That's a realistic threat.
Oh, wow. He doesn't
go
for the heal.
Plenty of time.
He didn't go for the heal there.
Well, again, Amaz on 6 mana this turn, so going for the heal here, I think, is a little bit too soon. He needs to fortify the position. Like, say, for instance, he faces down Shredder. Now he wants to have an answer to it. So he's at 7. He can go to 15 here. But maybe he can potentially deal with the Shredder and really just stifle the pressure altogether. Again,
patience come from Lifecoach here. Heal would have probably seemed very tempting, being in kind of this low life, high pressure situation from the Hunter, but definitely going to pay off. So he does have heal bot available to him now if he feels that he needs to burst back up to like 15. And that might swing Amaz out of the game, especially if he deals, like you said, with all the Shredder.
Yeah, I mean, the Shredder drop's going to be so important here. I mean, if Amaz gets a great Shredder drop, it's going to be looking so bad for Lifecoach.
I guess
he's got to think about all of them. I mean, you may even consider playing the anti-kill bot first in case of like Nerebar Weblord or something crazy.
Oh yeah, that would really ruin his day, especially if he plans to play the heal bot, which I'm guessing he is going for. Because what else could he play otherwise? He could play
at this point, yeah, I mean, at this point, 7, you have to consider the burst. Great drop for Lifecoach in this spot. And so it's going to take him up to 15. Amaz, the pressure's been stifled, but Lifecoach is on a bit of a clock. I mean,
wow, high main. That's a draw you want right this point.
A draw. I mean, that might have been the biggest draw in the deck, and he's even going to shut off the potential to trade off the first body and have Consecrate following this up. It's just great use for him. And I mean, Muster for Battle is almost no help in this spot. I mean, maybe he can get some lucky juggles, but
I guess he could. Yeah, I guess he could equality Knife Juggler Muster. And then
I think the one thing he can't do is eat 6 points of damage next turn.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's an efficient way for him to deal, at least with the high main. And he has the free one to take out one of the hyenas, but leaving any beasts alive on a hunter's board is usually quite frightening just because of kill command. Having that, you need that beast to activate it, of course, and 5 damage is not something you want to take at this point as Lifecoach. He does have hero power as well to kind of top himself back up, but what do you see as a play here? Do you think equality Knife Juggler Muster is potentially one of the best ways to deal with most of the high main?
I mean, maybe he just has to get lucky to really take care of this. It looks like that's the line he's found.
And he has free shots here with the but the problem with this as well is it does play into Unleash the Hounds, which gives Amaz even more damage. So it's frightening.
Bad.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, he's gonna take a lot of damage here. He's fallen 13. This Glaive Zook is gonna do some work too. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points of damage. 1 damage off lethal for Amaz. But when your opponent's sitting at 3, they have 2 cards in their hand. I think you take the opportunity.
You take the risk at this point because you can't just wait around. Reno Jackson is coming at some point. He does kill the Knife Juggler.
He's going to go for his Knife Juggler play then. He wants to put more pressure back on Lifecoach. Again, he's got pretty much a read here that there's no Consecration in hand, so I don't mind this whatsoever. This does, this keeps the heat very high on Lifecoach now. Even a heal in this situation could stifle his pressure. And Tyrion, that's not enough in this spot. It's going to fend off some of the damage. Well, actually, it is. It's going to keep him at 1 in this spot, actually. So forgive me. If Amaz draws a point damage, Lifecoach is dead here.
Oh,
that's enough.
That is enough, yeah. You can tank it with the weapon to get rid of shield, use the Mad Scientist, 3 damage from the Hyena, and the kill command will be able to finish him off.
Wow. Once again, people tanking 6 damage to hit this Tyrion to push through those final points. It's the second time it's happened in the day. That's a very rare situation.
They just don't mind Tyrion punching them in the face. They're just like, come on, Tyrion, I can take 2 hits, mate. Just carry on.
When you have that much life, you certainly can't do it. So that freezing trap at the beginning of the game, I mean, that was definitely a catalyst to that board position. Lifecoach had no answer to Huffer for 3 straight turns. Ended up taking 13 points of damage from it because of that Glaive Zuka. I mean, that is, when you get that much mileage out of a card, you are definitely a favorite to win the game.
Fantastic kind of hybrid hunter play from Amaz there. Definitely shown the strength of the deck in both games he's had with it. That hybrid hunter has done him so well in this tournament so far. But now he has his Tempo Mage and his Dragon Lot to choose from. And Lifecoach seems a little frustrated. You know, he hasn't found a single win in this Group B so far.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can be discouraging at this point. But I think if there's players who can get past that, it's, Lifecoach. I mean, Lifecoach comes from a poker background as well. He played very high stakes heads up poker. And I can tell you, the money, if you start losing those all ins, that can get a little bit tilting. But I imagine he's got pretty good control over that at this point. Just really trying to figure out what the best way to tackle this lineup is. Going over his plays, did I do anything wrong? Could I have won that game in any situation? And I think at the end of the day, it really boiled down to just him not having the answer for the Huffer.
Yeah, that Huffer completely changed everything. Like I said, the freezing trap was super important because if the freezing trap was something else, he would have cleared the Huffer and he wouldn't have had all that damage or all that mileage he did with the card. But it looks like they're ready to go into the next game. He's going to be choosing his handlock this time, and Amaz sticking to his game plan from the previous bracket, sticking straight into the Tempo Mage and leaving his Dragon Lock for last.
Yeah, would like to, I think, see a couple more minions in this opening hand, but this matchup can get out of control real quick if you're the Warlock player here. I mean, Man the Worm is kind of the key that unlocks the door to the Mage Paradise.
If he finds the Dart Bomb in his opening hand, that could really slow down Amaz. And it's crazy how much influence Mana Worm has with his deck and how much reach it can give it from the buffs from the spells.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like accumulating spell power.
I know.
Just keeps attacking and dealing extra points of damage every turn. Duplicate finds its way into Amaz's hand. That's a very interesting choice. And with this kind of hand, I can definitely see Amaz being totally okay with duplicating Mana Worms.
Yeah, might as well. If you can, I mean, he's going to buff the Mana Worm as well. He's going to get more board pressure. Cheap minions, lots of spells in his hands as well. So, there's a lot going on there. Now, Lifecoach likes to tap. He's not going to play the Watcher. I mean, he could have played Watcher, maybe Sun Fury if he felt under pressure, but he's just not that type of player. He's the type of player who, plays slow and he thinks turns ahead. He does go for the Watcher this time.
Oh, goodness. And that's kind of piques the interest where Lifecoach goes, wow, it's really not Mirror Entity. So now he has no idea what it is. At this point, counterspells going through Lifecoach's head. He would ideally love to taunt this up, but he knows if he coins, it could just be counterspell. I mean, maybe you just go for it anyway, but use the coin. It's one less health on the Twilight Drake. Maybe you can't play the Mountain Giant next turn. Knowing that it's not Mirror Entity is very powerful, but now the threat of what this secret could be is still very powerful in this situation.
Because if he needs his Hellfire later, he might want to protect his Hellfire with the coin. But he needs to get a read on this. And
just look at Lifecoach's face. I mean, it says it all.
He's very frustrated with not having a Mirror Entity. He's probably feeling, right, Mirror Entity, you can have this guy. He's not going to be able to do much for you. And now he's just like, oh man, if that's a counter spell, do I just throw away my coin?
I mean, it's not an easy spot. I mean, coins, it's not counterspell. Definitely it's a very high reward, but he's going to pass on it. And so is this Amaz's ticket to getting it? Oh my gosh, they draws Mirror Entity. Now, the thing about it is this turn, you can't pass up the Pilot Shredder. So that's a big benefit for him. But now Lifecoach, he's in a situation, maybe he feels comfortable with what's going on. But again, if he Hellfires, he's giving 2 Mana Worms over to Amaz, and that's just such a scary minion. Just have 2 copies of Hellfire, though. Maybe back-to-back those. Could clean this up. I mean, this has been gone from bad to worse, it seems, in every single game for Lifecoach.
Yeah, back-to-back Hellfires might be a way for him to kind of clean up Amaz's board. He does have an anti-heal bot for later as well. He does have a Molten Giant as well, so that might not work out too bad. But at the moment, he's thinking, what is this secret? And if I do try a Hellfire, is it going to be? He does have the coin to test it, but he's trying to weigh up. Does he want to use the coin if it's not? And if he does decide to use the coin, I'm pretty sure Lifecoach's face is going to be very animated and tell us how he feels about it.
Just a tough situation. I mean, how do you diffuse this? Even Mountain Giant's looking like it's just not that good of a play here. Nothing feels good. I guess Twilight Drake to start contesting the board position, but this is a lot of damage you're going to take in the meantime.
And there's Antonidas. Not what you want to find right now. Mirror Entity feels pretty good because he has strong minions that you can steal. But what do you do about this Twilight Drake?
I think at this point it's pretty much just it's going to sit there and do what Twilight Drake does. Can Amaz really afford to make anything happen as far as hitting that's concerned? He's got to get damage in somewhere. It's very unlikely to just win the long-term grind battle with Tempo Mage. You can deal a lot of burst damage, but that's it's pretty much where the deck's direction is out-pressure your opponent. Don't mind the hero power here on the Twilight Drake. Just start to chip it down, maybe threaten it a little bit. But the rest of that's going straight upstairs.
And 15's a good life total to be on at the moment for Amaz because it doesn't make Molten Giants cheap enough. The ping's nice as well because, if he does decide to trade in something, he might be able to take it out, say, with a Flame Cannon coming up. But now, Lifecoach has a question. There's 2 secrets now. What am I going to do about these?
At this point, you can be fairly confident that one of them is Mirror Entity. So Sun Fury is great against that, but still gotta wonder what the other one is.
Maybe he's thinking Effigy could be something he's thinking about. Counterspell, of course, is the most obvious choice for a Tempo Mage.
It's really a tough spot either way. A bit of good news for him here, I think. Look at Lifecoach's face. He's like, what? He's like, this duplicate gave me this much trouble? Oh, gosh.
And the eyebrows come down, that angry expression. Come on, man. Wait, is he going?
No.
No way. Don't do it, Lifecoach. Just, Sun Fury. Sun Fury.
Yeah, there you go.
Come on, Lifecoach.
Don't
do this to us.
Not like this. Manages to sniff out the Mirror Entity here. Could have potentially been disaster, but now he's looking like he's in a pretty decent spot. 2 Twilight Drakes on board, 2 4/5s taunted up. He's diffused the secret situation. Flamewaker gets picked up, though.
Yeah, that's definitely something you wanted to see. With Frostbolt, Flame Cannon, missiles, a lot of shots are going to be fired by Flamewaker here, and he might be able to deal with some of these taunts.
It's going to be Flame Cannon first.
Ooh.
It's not necessarily the one you want to see. Those are pretty good picks, though.
Yeah, the one going on to the whatever Twilight Drake was good. Oh.
This is a 4/3. The damage is largely inconsequential at this point. Just having an extra 4/3 on board, it's pretty good. When that Wraithguard takes damage, it is gonna direct that damage back to Amaz as well. But is the life really that important right now? I think just having a 4/3 you got to be thrilled with.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. It's just a succubus, right? But a bit of a kickback, but it's not going to affect him too much. One hit onto... Oh, that didn't line up what he wanted. He wanted to get at least 3 hits on that Watcher so he could use the Sun Fury, but it's going to stick around for a little bit, and now this Flamewaker is going to be in trouble.
Yeah, this whole board position is in really a lot of trouble here. Mountain Giant just looking fantastic in this board state. But, maybe he's got other plans in mind. Healbot and Jiraxis too. If he gets past this initial push, I think he's in good shape.
Yeah, he's probably thinking if he can any other way he can deal with the other minions, because he's got his 4/1 to trade cleanly into the Flamewaker. The Sun Fury on its own is not going to be able to do a lot. And then the Giant, I like the Giant play. Just slam the Mountain Giant, put the 8/8 down. He said, now I've got this big body you have to deal with. Is there anything else he could do?
He's got a lot of options. It's just which ones, they're all of his options are not really good. They're just kind of mediocre. And so when that's the case, you really have to think about how the future turns are unfolding. How do you turn this situation into a good one? That trade is pretty much set in stone at this point. It's good that he's really thinking about everything all at once, though, to make his sequencing on point. And, I mean, this is the turn. This is the critical turn right now. If he gets past this one safe, I think he's in good shape. But
Dr. Boom pickup.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like there's no big game hunter in hand either. So, I mean, the writing is on the wall for Dr. Boom at this point. I mean, none of your plays are really that good.
Yeah, just throw the 7 down with the mini bots there, or the boom bots, sorry. But the 8 can deal with it at least. I mean, he does have the body to challenge the Dr. Boom, and he does have heal bot. Force, he just picked up the Force on. He does have some kind of instant damage as well with Doomguard. He does have a nice big body that can challenge something straight away if he needs it. So I think Lifecoach has kind of tools he can use in the future, but he has to last into the future, and I mean, that could be tough.
Here's the thing: the threat of the damage from hand is really what he's worried about right now. He can easily run over the Dr. Boom, but then the Boombot and the Mountain Giant's going to take care of that. He really has no way to shore up the board position. He may look at this and ultimately determine this is the turn to really take a big risk. If I get this Emperor Thorson and it sticks, I have Draxus and Molten Giant next turn. That may be the turn he's looking for, but there's a threat of that burst potential. But Lifecoach never one really to shy away from risks that he needs to take. A lot of different ways to play this. I mean, I think Emperor Thorson's looking pretty good right now. He knows the 2 cards in Amaz's hand are Mana Orbs as well.
Just has to pray there's not Fireball, Frostbolt, or Fireball, for example. And is he going to take the risk? Yes, he is. Great play from Lifecoach, getting a read. But a Fireball off the top might be able to do it. No, Arcane Missiles is not going to be enough, and this Forson has to be dealt with now. Amaz has to play a little bit differently.
Now, I mean, the Archmage Antonidas becomes a threat in this spot as well. I mean, Amaz can read the situation and go, well, there can't be big game hunter in hand, right? I mean, certainly your opponent would have saved that much health on their Mountain Giant and really gone for it. I mean, Amaz doesn't really have a read on his hand range. And so Archmage Antonidas and Arcane Missiles, wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe he's thinking another lucky Boombot roll could end this. Oh my gosh, 2 back-to-back huge rolls on the Boombots, and Amaz is going to lock up this game.
And the story comes down as well. Oh, Lifecoach must be devastated.
Wow, I mean, that is unbelievable to see that happen. But that's a situation where Amaz, he looks at that and thinks to himself, you know what? If I get a little bit lucky here, I can close out this game. I don't know what Lifecoach has behind this. If he has the right cards to answer the situation, I'm going to be in trouble. And so to see where the Boombots roll first, I think that's just right. I mean, even afterwards, say the Boombots go awry, you still have the Archmage and the Arcane Missiles afterwards to continue to threaten that pressure. And Lifecoach once again will be forced into a spot where he has to deal with everything. But I agree with the risk that he took this turn. If that turn turns out okay, Molten Giant Jiraxis with an Antique Healbot in hand is going to be devastating in that spot. But with the Archmage down, he has to deal with that first. I mean, there's really no telling how that game was going to roll, but the Boombots end it right now.
And that's what you have to do as an aggro player. You need to take risks. You need to kind of weigh up the situation. I mean, Forsun come, but like I said, once you see Forsun come down, you have to wonder what else he's got. It paid off for him, as well played to him. Lifecoach absolutely devastated at the moment, going 0-5 in this Group B so far. Amaz again is 1 game away from winning another match, but Kalento was able to come back 3-2, and Lifecoach of a very similar caliber as Kalento might be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the series isn't over till it's actually over. He's going to take the Priest Hero Power here. I actually kind of like this given his hand right now. He's going to be able to continue to fight for board, keep his guys healed up.
Now Amaz is playing the slow deck of his lineup, the Mali Lock. Yeah. This is the one that let him down last time. I think Amaz would want to see winning this game for Amaz, or a game in the future with this deck, might be what he needs, to give him the confidence to face Trump later on.
Yep. And Lifecoach, going to weigh the merits of playing Aldor Peacekeeper for tempo here, but I think that being able to handle Twilight Drakes, maybe even handling Blackwing Corruptors, at least to some degree, is probably more important at this point, but it was good to think about. Yeah, I mean, it'd just be so tough to play Aldor Peacekeeper here. I just don't see it being the right play.
Yeah, I don't see it being the right play either. You kind of need to keep that ready for when those big bodies come down and you need to challenge it.
Just going to go ahead and pass, and this is Amaz's chance to really try to take advantage of this. I mean, we've seen him life tap for some turns now. Dark Peddler going to be the play.
And what here is his options?
Oh, Bloodsail Corsair, actually a pretty decent pickup in this spot as well. I mean, the ability to take out a True Silver Champion, maybe even to take out a swing on Ashbringer. I mean, those are very valuable spots to be in. And Lifecoach going to take this time to say, you know what? Your deck doesn't deal with Murloc Knight very well. Deal with it right now or pay the price.
Throw a Soulfire at it. I dare you. Let's see what you're willing to discard to get rid of this card. But yeah, Bloodsail Corsair, you know, that card has had no influence in competitive play at all, but Peddler has kind of opened it up. If you find in the right matchup, it could be the difference between you losing a minion because of a weapon and you actually gaining tempo again.
This could be some awfully bad turns here for Amaz. There's no AoE in hand at the moment. He's going to be able to take this Twilight Drake down to 1 power, start swinging at it with the Murloc Knight, and then healing it back up to generate extra minions. And this is a fantastic spot for Lifecoach.
Oh, what's he going to get? And if he gets a really powerful Murloc, like another Knight or maybe an old Murkai, a War Leader, man, it could be pretty devastating for him.
Yeah, even considering the merits of using Hero Power first in case he gets something like the War Leader and maybe puts extra damage out.
No, Lifecoach. Always considering these things. No, always planning ahead. There's a lot of RNG involved in doing that. I mean, how many Murlocs are in the game right now? We've had a couple of others being added. There's a considerable amount now. And there's obviously finding the specific ones is going to be tough.
Yeah,
but
it's really hard to determine like what the actual best play of the situation is. I mean, I would tend to say that keeping this outside of Hellfire range, lest your opponent have to attack their Twilight Drake again, is the right spot. Well, he even gets the War Leader though.
And Finley gets benefits from that as well. And look at this board, it's so powerful. And Lifecoach finally kind of in a dominating position here. Does Amaz have, you know, the stuff he needs to deal with this? Has to do the War Leader, so this Murloc Knight's going to get another opportunity to find another Murloc.
Yeah, I think this is going to be Soulfire at this point. I mean, he can't let this charade continue much longer.
No more nonsense, Lifecoach. Just get rid of this guy.
Now, the problem with this is that Amaz is really yielding a lot of initiative over to Lifecoach at this point, so he's going to be developing really heavy-hitting minions for quite a while at this point. And that's going to, I mean, that's very likely to give Amaz a lot of trouble in this situation, but I mean, I like the way he's played this so far, but I mean, having the Soulfire Murloc Knight, coin Soulfire Murloc Knight here, does discard, I would say, what is one of the better discards for him, though. So, you know, maybe he can get it to this board position, all right.
Yeah, losing Abusive is not bad at all. And this is what Amaz needed. He needed kind of a good situation from the Soulfire, kind of to be able to fight board back. And, you know, the story of Amaz's Warlock so far is it's had to play reactive every game it's played so far in this tournament. So, you know, he must be quite happy. He's at least contesting Lifecoach. He isn't just fighting from behind all the time.
Yeah, Lifecoach 3 very strong plays in front of him. I mean, really 4 strong plays, even if you consider Tusker Jouster. I mean, how important is the life?
So Piloted Shredder is... well, Piloted Shredder and Kane, 2 powerful minions to have in this situation, because their death rattles are such a nuisance. Because they're going to just let your board be stabilized for a lot longer. And Lifecoach puts the pressure on. He's not afraid of Molten Giants. I like this.
I mean, this is the deck that you can play without fear of Molten Giant against. So, you know, that is one of the weaknesses of the control handlock. I mean, typically, the control Mally locks is that typically against these Warlock control decks, you're fearing Molten Giant, but that swing turn just doesn't exist in this deck. I wonder how long it is before someone just throws 2 Molten Giants in here. It really starts throwing everyone off.
I really hate you hitting my face, so I'm going to put 2 Molten Giants in here to stop you from doing that. Respect my life. You used to, guys, but now since I don't have these Moltens, you just have no respect.
Yeah. So Amaz doing what he can to clear up this board position. The Cairn is about to rain terror on these board states, and you're going to back this up with a Pilot Sky Golem, and you're looking at some potential devastating turns from Lifecoach.
Oh man, he can clear up the 5-1 with Finley. Clear out the Twilight, the Azure Drake, sorry, and then play another minion, which is a nuisance. Lifecoach just being a complete nuisance to Amaz with these minions he's putting on board.
I mean, a lot of clever tricks in Amaz's hand, but he's not really facing any subtlety at the moment. I actually even like heal and 5-drop here a little bit better, just to make sure that he has this first body of the can sticking around. I mean, Is it important to get 2 sticky minions in play when your opponent's got a 1/6 left? I don't think so. But now the question is the Loatheb effect or the healing effect potentially the bigger long-term benefit?
I quite like the heal. I'd rather save the Loatheb for a situation when your board's kind of swung out of control and you can lock out any AoE removal that come down. And the heal at this point I don't think is a big deal. I think the 5/5 body is just more important.
And Lifecoach agrees. I mean, he does have Reno Jackson and Anti-Killbot still left in his deck too, so the heal largely inconsequential. Just the fact that it's a 5/5 right now is adding enough pressure for Amaz to have to look at this board state and wonder, where is this going to come from?
Forsun's going to be coming down here. Forsun's a beautiful card in this deck, not only because of the reduction for Malilot, but also the reduction of Bran and those Battlecry minions, and being able to squeeze in multiple minions with Bran to get a lot of value. I really enjoy that kind of inclusion of Bran in this deck and how it can be influenced through Forsun.
Now, when Lifecoach picks up the Doctor Boom here, is he looking at this board state and wondering if this is where he can push for damage? I mean, he does have the opportunity to trade in the Emperor Thorson. How valuable is that mana to Amaz right now, though? I mean, you can take off 9 of his remaining 16 and then fortify your board position. I mean, this is a very scary board state for Amaz if he chooses to play Doctor Boom. Now, the problem with this is Lifecoach doesn't know the cards in Amaz's hand. He only knows that one of them is a Dark Peddler card, and that's it. There could be a tremendous range hidden behind this, and those are all considerations he has to think about right now. So I like the pressure, but I also like playing defensively here. I mean, these are the kind of turns that really show you, what great players are thinking about in these situations. And setting up lethal next turn and forcing your opponent to have the right cards may just be the best play.
Lifecoach will be aware that these decks run double BGH. But Lifecoach I quite like playing Dr. Boom there. Like I said, putting on the pressure, making Amaz have the correct answers, but dealing with the force on it as well. Getting the heal off on the Kane. So look at these 2 bodies, very stable. And he does have lethal in his hand at the moment with the Consecrate.
The thing about this one is this is a little more hidden from Lifecoach. I mean, Amaz may look at this board state and go, well, he does have to have 2 points of damage. Maybe I can play some minions now, look to trade out his board, and then try to heal up afterwards. If that's the case, Amaz dies. But, this situation took out the Emperor Thorsons. He doesn't have the threat of that anymore. He still has a Doctor Boom back behind this. And again, it's still threatening lethal. So, I mean, this board position just looks fantastic for Lifecoach right now.
Yeah, he's got to make a key decision here. Am I going to die next turn if I don't heal? And if he wants, he can Bran and double heal, and he'll swing his life back up, but it doesn't really influence the board that much, whereas maybe Healbot and Azure Drake will give him at least a body which can challenge the 6/4, or at least force Kane to start trading again. But it looks like he's actually going to go for the double draw here. Is he going to use a Dark Bomb?
Oh, jeez. This is going to be a disaster at this point. I mean, he does have to Dark Bomb for sure. Depends on what this drop is. 3/3 is not too shabby. So 7, 8, 9 points damage from Lifecoach. 4 points damage will end this. It's basically only a true silver draw right now.
Doesn't get it though, doesn't find what he needs to finish out the game. And that's kind of the story of Paladins sometimes. They just don't have a lot of burst from hand. 4 most they can do is like 4 from a True Silver and 4 from a Blessing of Kings. So 8 altogether, but none of those cards in his hand. Is it time for Dr. Boom now? Is it time to say, let's slam that Boom and let's deal with that? But the Bran is a problem too.
Yeah, I mean, Bran is definitely, he's got a very big target on his forehead at the moment. Yeah, but so does the Azure Drake too, though. I mean, it looks like he's just going to continue to play for value in this spot and try to look to get back to another board state like he just had, where he's threatening lethal out of hand. Amaz may not know it, and at the same time continue to buy himself value. I mean, Amaz can continue life tapping to draw those 2 cards, but eventually he's going to get low on life. And when that situation arises, if Lifecoach can continue to keep the board in his favor, it's really what he's looking for.
Dr. Boom, I expect? Unless he Loathebs, because Loatheb would just reduce the effectiveness of Azure Drake because of the spell lock. But he's going for the more aggressive play here. He's going to say to Amaz, can you deal with all of this?
Yeah, I mean, no big game hunter, no real way to punish this at the moment. Amaz is still in the hunt for the right cards.
He can Blackwing the 7/7 and trade the 4/4 and Healbot, but again, it's very reactive, it's very passive. The Kane still stays around. Kane's been around for so long now. The old war chief. Bane is waiting to come into play, but Bane is just not getting the opportunities. Just saying, "Come on, bro, let me have a shot at this." Oh man.
I mean, the priest hero power here really doing a number to Amaz in this position. I mean, he may have been able to control this board had he not been seeing this Cairn healed up turn after turn.
Yeah, that hero power has been excellent. Combined with Cairn, lock him in. It looks like he is going to go for the Blackwing Corruptor, trade with the Azu Drake, and potentially Healbot. Yep, Healbot has to come down to kind of put him out of the danger zone of Paladin. But again, Lifecoach will just fight for board, restabilize again, and then Amaz will just be back where he started. Oh, I need to deal with these threats he keeps playing.
Yeah, making sure also to keep 3 minions on board. I mean, at this point, Lifecoach is looking to force him to play more minions if he wants to handle this. I mean, Shredder and Loaf that back behind this and then push for damage. I mean, I think he's seen the desperation from Amaz at this point. I mean, there wasn't a big turn last turn, really using a lot of resources just to handle the Doctor Boom. He's got to look at the situation and think, maybe he just doesn't have the right cards in his hand.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like Lofeb and Shredder, and then just being super aggressive and saying, right, you probably can't use any AoE spells, or if you're going to commit to a spell, it'll be your only play, and you need to have that spell. And you have all these bodies on board that he needs to deal with. Cain pops out Bane, Shredder pops out something. It's just such a nuisance. Oh, that cleans that up. Oh, maybe he can just go for board here. It looks like that plays a Lifecoach, so that's Lifecoach for you. He will just fight for board relentlessly.
I mean, that's the other thing, too, is if your opponent doesn't have the right cards now, are they going to have the right cards in the next 2 turns? I mean, probably not. I mean, this board position is just as threatening. Again, he has the Consecration out of hand. He really has ways to kind of deal with everything in this position. Amaz, he needs a great Shredder drop from that. And now Lifecoach's hero power can target minions.
Oh, no. He can heal Amaz's minions for BM if he chooses. But Lifecoach ain't like that.
I mean, this is just brutal. I mean, you're kind of just sending the Twilight Drake out to die. It's not really making any board impact here. And it looks like he's going to have to go with the Doctor Boom instead. Says, you know what? The time is nigh. My opponent's going to have the damage to end this. Lifecoach has it in hand, though. Even picks up the True Silver Champion if he didn't need it. We're going to game number 4.
Lifecoach gets his first win of the tournament as well. He must be pretty happy. Getting a win, he can move forward now and maybe punish this Malilok, much like Kalento did in the winner's bracket. So, yeah. Amaz, again, he's gone 4-0 with the Malilok. He must be feeling a bit uneasy about it.
Yeah, I mean, this game really illustrated to me the very patient play of Lifecoach. Doesn't want to force any issue. Knows that if he can continue to force his opponent to expend everything just to fight what he's got right now, that spells great things for him in the future. I mean, he's looking to really notch on extra percentage points at every single step of the way. And that game just so fantastically and patiently played. I mean, he had lots of opportunities to make pushes. Instead, just slowed the game down, kept control of the board, really forcing Amaz's hand at every step of the way, and the pressure just built up too much at the end.
Yep, Lifecoach patience is, that's what he's known for. He's known for planning, patience, calculating situations, and it's paid off for him there. But he still has to win with 2 more decks. Druid is definitely a deck that can do it for him, especially, I think, in this matchup. The Twilight Guardians definitely help Amaz. I mean, Twilight Guardians are a bit of a pain for the Druids sometimes. They have been when they've had to face them in Dragon Priest, for example. But how do you feel about this matchup overall?
This one, it largely comes down to the way that the early turns pan out. If the Druid can get some pressure going and then follow it up, it's nightmares for the Malagos Lock. But if they don't have one of those explosive style of hands, Malagos Lock can often just continue to bide time and then use strong tempo plays to really get control of the board. Dark Peddler does a fantastic job at threatening Darnassus Aspirant. Imp Gang Boss just does a good job at adding a little bit of extra pressure to the board. And then Twilight Guardians can always just threaten super favorable trades. So in this spot, Lifecoach is really going to need to pick up some minions, get this ball rolling, and try to topple it with his pressure rather than trying to go card for card, I'd say.
Yeah, fundamentally, I would say the Malilok's early game is very similar to Dragon Priest. You play these strong, efficient bodies at the start, and you lead into the point where you just overwhelm the Druid, much like in the Dragon Priest matchup. The only difference is Malilok has a few more tricks at his sleeve. I mean, Dragon Priest is very straightforward, kind of almost like a mid-range deck in itself. But with Malilock, on the other hand, has a lot of burst, and it has brand combos as well for healing, for drawing, for creating bigger bodies. So ultimately, I think Malilock has kind of taken the Dragon spot as far as Dragon decks go for Dragon Priest these days.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. So just tough turn ahead Lifecoach. I mean, he can't answer the board stats. Say it's a little bit too early. Just get the Shade on board. But I mean, this is really the turn that Amaz is looking for, is play this 3/6 completely uncontested and start, chipping away. The damage, this damage eventually adds up. I mean, he's taking 4 a turn right now.
He does have spells available to him to deal with this Drake, but do you want to really throw your Shade out? You might just go for a Force in here. I think that's fine.
He needs just a little bit more ramp to really keep up with the pressure here, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure.
This play just makes total sense, but that power overwhelming picked up for Amaz is going to deal with this and then continue to swing away, it looks like.
Yeah, having a 6-mana Ancient of Law is not bad as well, though. He can dig into his deck a little deeper, but I guess the issue is, like you said, that's brilliant play.
Really like this. Yeah, handling the Shredder, getting the extra 1 health, and then trying to throw off Lifecoach's curve. I mean, this is a good swipe turn for him, but the problem with it is he doesn't have any pressure to go with it. If he chooses to swipe here, he's taking his entire turn and just giving Amaz the initiative, which may not be terrible right now, and something it looks like he has to do. Again, this Dark Peddler into Imp Gang boss has just put so much pressure on him that he can't keep taking this much damage. He knows that burst is available. Something's got to give.
He might need to Wrath the 2/1 just to draw some more stuff, and maybe just clear the entire board. I'm not sure about that. The problem is, I guess he could use his hero power after the swipe as well. But again, like you said, he resets the board, and Amaz then takes the initiative, and if he's got the minions to back up that reset, it could look really bad for Lifecoach, especially at 16 health, and a deck that packs burst damage.
He's really got to consider the next couple turns. I mean, this is just, it's been tough. Lifecoach just feels like he's had a tough spot every single game.
I mean, he could go for Druid of the Claw and just Wrath the 3/3. I mean, at least he creates a 4/6 then, which can stick around, and he deals with the Guardian